Hello, this is Londa Tyndall. Today I'm doing a short interview with Michael Fagg. Mike is from El Dorado, Kansas, and he is running for the Kansas Senate in District 14. District 14 includes Butler, Chautauqua, Coffee, Cowley, Elk, Greenwood, Wilson, and Woodson counties. Is that right, Mike?
That's right, and also parts of Labette and Montgomery County, so there's a total of 10
counties.
10 counties.
In one district. Wow.
A lot of area.
That's a big district. So this is really important, people. We get one voice from this entire area in the Kansas Senate. And that position is currently held by Bruce Givens, who ran against Forrest Knox in 2016. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
First off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run?
Okay. I am a conservative Republican and been in community banking for 47 years. So being in banking, you learn a lot about families, businesses, what you can afford, what you can't afford, a lot of things about all kinds of business, because you're in a community bank, you do a little bit of everything. And so that's where I've been. So when I retired in March, I was sitting at home and enjoying life, you know, and everybody waits for that
Retirement, finally.
And about May, I started getting some phone calls from some Republicans that says, Mike, would you please run for this office? So I did some looking into it, and my sole reason for running for this is just on the voting record of my opponent.
Okay.
So that's my reason for running.
Okay.
My wife, Debbie, of 45 years, and I've got 3 daughters, and I got 4 grandchildren. And I live in El Dorado, lived my whole life there. So I'm in District 14 all the way.
Good deal.
So
all right. Do you have past experience in public service? And what draws you to serve your community as a public servant?
Some of my experiences in the past have been mayor of El Dorado, city commissioner. I worked on the city planning also. So that's kind of some of the stuff in the city area that I worked in. This was all in El Dorado. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people, serving people, because when you take a job like this, you work for the people.
That's right.
And so this is kind of a level up from that. So
yep.
A big level up, 10 county level up. So.
Well, let's hit on, are you done? Sorry.
Well, the other part I want to tell you is that I've been past president of the chamber and also been United Way and Red Cross and currently president of the Lions Club. So that kind of lets you know what you do when you retire.
You've been a really great public servant, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit on a few of the major issues that Republicans hold dear. Where do you stand on the Second Amendment rights, and are you pro-life?
Okay, the Second Amendment rights, I filled out a questionnaire for the NRA. I got an A rating on that, so I was very proud of that. This day and age, you kind of worry about safety at home, and people are more cognizant of having protection than I've ever seen in my lifetime. And as we look around the nation, you can see why that's going on. So Second Amendment is something that is coming into focus more all the time. The pro-life part of it, I've always been a pro-life person. I go to St. John's Catholic Church. My mother is 90 years old, and she is the executive director of Birthline in El Dorado, and she has been for several years.
Wow.
So I could sit here and tell you stories about that, but it really ingrains into you why pro-life is so important.
Very good, very good. That's really neat that your mom's been doing it for that long.
It is.
Where do you stand on respecting individual freedoms and liberty?
Individual freedoms and liberty, that's something that if you look at the Republican platform is a big part of that. Mm-hmm. So your liberty part, it seems like we're losing a lot of that every day. And it's our job to be vigilant and try to protect that. And so liberties is important. The other part says that when you're in Topeka, I sure like the decisions being made on the local level. So limiting government, keeping it local. I think we make better decisions because just like in our 10 county area, there is differences of how people, what's important to people and what's not, and they're just different areas. So local people know better about what's going on with their local issues.
That's right. One size doesn't fit all, does it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What ideas do you have for economic growth in Kansas?
The virus is a big thing going on now, and we all watch that every day on TV, and this won't last forever, and there will be another virus sometime. But we're going to learn from this. I think there'll be a lot of this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. But as we come out of this, economic development is going to be a big issue with small businesses. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of small businesses have a tough time. As I go around the district touring right now, I really enjoy that there's a lot of great small businesses around. That really excites me, and they're not just the restaurants, which they excite me, but small business like a candy factory at Dexter, that kind of thing. And so as we come out of this, people that want to start a new business, some way we need to help them every way we can. And so I have some ideas on that kind of, the Small Business Administration has a workshop that you go to. But we need to encourage people to want to do something, to look into it. So some kind of touring thing from Topeka that might include the Department of Commerce, the Secretary of State office, that kind of thing, or maybe some retired small business people from the area that might take a tour and get people interested, and then maybe this other part would be phase 2. So
interesting ideas.
Somehow we have to take the ideas to the people.
Yeah, and not just
Say
wait for them.
Go to Topeka and learn how to do it.
Yeah, great idea. I like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Medicaid expansion in Kansas?
Medicaid expansion in Kansas, okay. The cost is the first thing. There's questions that I have about that, so I'm still really studying that. The cost is a big part of that. What other options do we have come into that? Who's going to pay for it? Are all things that we need to be looking at, and then in making decisions off of that type of thing. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, how can people contact you if they have more questions for you or want to talk about these things in more detail?
Okay, my cell phone. I'm very big on transparency, accessibility, that kind of thing. So my cell phone number is 316-377-7987. And my email address is mdfag2000@yahoo.com.
All right, so they can just call you or email you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
So as we look at this, one thing we really want to focus on is working together. So I will do my part to make this happen. And I'm really excited about the opportunity that could be coming forward here if this happens. So this onward and upward, and we all do it together.
All right. Well, that's about all that we have for you today. And I really appreciate that you were willing to give us this interview so that people in our area can learn more about you. And we just want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.